Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Let's Talk. It is August. We are almost 10 days in, and it has turned out to be a spectacular month so far. Not only are we celebrating women this month, but we are celebrating the inner and outer glow of all our young living women. Now, I have to confess, I have never been more out of my depth than the topic of this call tonight. But at least I am joined, and I do not have to I do not have to present this. I am joined by our fabulous resident pharmacist, Francisca, and she is going to talk us through a very, very interesting topic, which I am sure I'm going to learn a lot about. And I also think this is such an important topic for us, especially in Women's Month, to learn about hormonal oils and what Young Living has to offer. But even for me, understand about women and hormones, I think it's a great opportunity to learn. So welcome to the call, Fran. Um, I'm
Hi,
sure
Lee. Hi, everyone.
everybody is excited about it. As always, I would quickly like to start off with our disclaimer, which is this information in this presentation is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And obviously, this information is only relevant to the South African market only, right? So, before I hand over to you, happy Women's Month or Happy Women's Day. How was your Women's Day?
It was awesome, Lee. Like I got to have enjoyed with my friends. You sometimes you get so wound up in taking care of the house, the kids, the husband, and all of that. So I told everyone, I'm not even sleeping at home. I'm leaving all of y'all. Everyone is taking care of themselves. I'm not there.
That's I think that's the best way to celebrate
And it
Women's
was
Day
really
with.
awesome for me to
Uh,
just rejuvenate.
yeah, I think it's the best way to celebrate Women's Day with other women, right? Because
Yes,
and
with my
then,
friends.
so then for me, I must say I was so impressed, and I know that I work for the company, but Delisha did an amazing post about Little Miss on Women's Day where we had that the awesome where you can select which Little Miss you was. I love that post so much. So well done to our marketing department, and also we've got amazing promotion on rollers. But enough of that. Let's talk about hormonal oils.
Yes, this is so awesome for me. For right now, I just will. When I was preparing for this presentation, actually, it was in tune with the Women's Month. And you know me and loving everything to make sense. It was just awesome for me to just delve into this and better explain so that when we are also using the oils or recommending the oils for usage, everybody knows what we are talking about, and we also can confidently talk about what we are talking about when we talk of hormonal oils. And as much as we've got a wide range of hormonal oils with Young Living, so specifically, I'm going to talk about the hormonal oils that are female hormone related, because we get all types of hormones in the body. And since it's Women's Month, I'll just delve into mostly the ones that affect women health, women emotions. So a small introduction would be the main female sex hormones are estrogen and progesterone. I'm sure we all know that. And although testosterone is considered a male hormone, females also produce and need a small amount of it. I will talk more on that as we go through the presentation. So to better understand everything that I'm going to talk about as well in this presentation, we need to understand what progesterone is and what it does. So progesterone is the major female hormone. The lion's share of it comes from the ovaries, but small amounts are also produced in the adrenal glands and the fat cells. So during pregnancy as well, the placenta also makes some estrogen to help in the baking, so-called, of the baby, and making sure that the baby is safe, secure, and has a full 9-month term in the uterus. So estrogen plays a big role in reproductive and sexual development. That is its most vital, and it's the biggest role of estrogen. So it includes puberty, menstruation, pregnancy, menopause. And estrogen also affects the brain, the cardiovascular system, the hair, and the musculoskeletal system, the skin, and the urinary tract. So this is just basically the basics of what estrogen is without getting too much into it. And then the next one is progesterone. So progesterone as well is one of the vital female hormones that are found in the female body. So progesterone, the ovaries produce the female hormone progesterone, usually after ovulation. So progesterone is not produced all the time willy-nilly. It's produced after ovulation. And during pregnancy, the placenta also produces some. And progesterone, I got to find this out when I was pregnant, that is the one that actually is very key and important in maintaining like a full-term pregnancy. You find some women who get breakthrough bleeding during pregnancy. That is because the progesterone levels are low. And when you go to the doctor will just maybe give you a bit of supplements that contain progesterone, because progesterone is very important in maintaining a full-term pregnancy. The role of progesterone is to prepare the lining of the uterus for fertilization or for a fertilized egg. So that is why progesterone, mostly the levels of it spike after your ovulation. So just to make sure that it produces the thick lining for when an egg is fertilized and it needs to attach to the uterus. So it supports pregnancy, like I mentioned, it supports the pregnancy because it has to constantly keep on maintaining the thick lining for the baby that is attached and continuously growing in the uterus. It suppresses estrogen production after ovulation because the estrogen will counteract. It's more like progesterone and estrogen are yin and yang. As much as they are codependent, they can't operate at the same time. So if we have estrogen dominance, it means that progesterone will not happen. If progesterone production will not happen, and if the progesterone levels are too low, then fertilization and attachment of the fetus will not happen. So that is why hormonal balance is very necessary for almost the female body to operate in symbiosis or in balance. So the first hormone, having said all of this, I know that it's like a bit of a mouthful, but it was just necessary so that we can understand some of the explanations I'll do for the different oils that are mostly female related. So the first one is clary sage.
So before we go to clary sage, right? I think this is because we only have a few oils to get through tonight, and we've got some time. I think it's our brand partners can take some can ask questions in the chat, and what we prefer to address afterwards, because I think this is such an amazing topic. And I mean, for instance, Sandra said if she knew about Young Living before she was pregnant, it would make such a difference to her life because she's been through progesterone shots, I assume, during her pregnancy. So I think this is a huge opportunity for us to address those questions around these topics. So please feel free to put your comment in, and then also at the end we'll just share Fran's email address again, because I think that's also vital for you guys to reach out to her and ask those important questions. So without any further ado, clary sage. I actually have one here, and I actually quite like the smell of clary sage. But what is it for?
It is amazing. So traditionally, it typically grows from 3 to 4 feet tall and produces some showy purple blooms that attract pollinators. So clary sage oil contains the naturally occurring linolene acetate, which contributes to its calming and soothing herbal aroma. So it is applied topically, and it promotes the appearance of healthy looking skin and is geared towards women for an aromatically soothing properties. So this is just the general explanation of clary sage. Now I'm going to dive into its working on the female hormones. Action of as progesterone inducing is it contains natural phytoestrogens, which are referred to as dietary estrogens derived from plants and not endocrine system. So sometimes the body itself cannot produce estrogen or enough estrogen, right? So phytoestrogens are those dietary estrogens that we can actually take with our food. These phytoestrogens give clary sage the ability to cause estrogenic effects. And one study that I actually read was, it said that the ones that we actually take in through our diet. They do this by stimulating the pituitary gland, which regulates ovulatory and sex hormone functions. Some of the female health conditions are caused by excess estrogens in the body, in part, because like I said, if estrogen is great in certain levels in the body, but if we have estrogen dominance, as in estrogen is way above the permitted levels in the body system, it actually counteracts some hormones like progesterone. So some of the female health conditions are caused by excess estrogens in the body, in part because of our consumption of high estrogen foods. For example, eggs and dairy. I literally had to go and Google how eggs and dairy contain high estrogen. You will be surprised that because eggs are produced from the ovaries of chickens, chickens need estrogen to produce the eggs that we actually eat. Hence, they're very high in estrogen. Dairy as well, a cow has to be lactating, meaning it also produces a lot of estrogen in order to produce milk for its baby. And so the amount of estrogen in dairy varies according to which part of the lactation process the cow is going through. So hence, clary sage can help balance out estrogen levels that are in the body. And then most of the clary sage can be used for menstrual discomfort, can be used for hormonal imbalance, can be used for insomnia, can be used for circulatory problems. And then how to use clary sage when we actually want to bring out some of these beautiful effects of clary sage. So one indirect way on how clary sage actually works to balance out hormones in our system, this blew my mind. Stressors, or when we are stressed, the body's hormones go out of whack. It going out of whack, a hormone or a hormone that is produced when we are stressed is cortisol. Cortisol causes depression or that feeling of anxiety or that feeling of being stressed. When we feel stressed, our hormones are imbalanced. When they're imbalanced, that's when we start having these mood swings, short-tempered, and our hormones become imbalanced. Someone can tell you, when I'm stressed, I have irregular bleeding, or when I'm stressed, my period is irregular because of that. So what clary sage does is it works as an anti-stressor. You can inhale it, you can put it in your, dilute it, put it and you cup it, or you put it in a diffuser, you inhale it. As you inhale it, it works as an anti-stressor. When it works as an anti-stressor, it doesn't trigger hormonal imbalance in your system, and hence you don't get hormonal imbalance. So that's perfect. It's so amazing. I don't know if anyone has a question when it comes to clary sage for now, because I'll be pausing a bit for questions.
Yeah, I see there's one from Kathy that says, so can we use clary sage daily in any stage of our life?
Yes, you can actually use clary sage. You dilute it in a roller, you apply it on the roller. The only disclaimer is that it should not be used by anyone who's got low blood pressure. So because there's another part of the brain that it works in order to reduce high blood pressure, that is another core on its own. So if you've got low blood pressure, then I would not suggest you using it every day. Rather, you use it for targeted, let's say during your menstrual cycle and you are feeling some abdominal pain or some PMS, then that's when you just take a few drops, dilute it because it's quite potent. You apply it on your abdomen, you apply it on the lower back. But if you know that you don't suffer from low blood pressure, then yes, definitely you can use it on a roller every day. And some women who are going through menopause have actually found, there's a study I read that if it's used by women going through menopause, you take some, you dilute it, you put it at the bottom of the feet, and it actually helps with the hot flashes that are associated with menopause. So yeah.
Yeah, that is very interesting. I mean, who would have thought that a little bottle of 5 ml oil can have such a big impact on so many things,
I
right?
know, right?
Yeah,
I know, right?
so that's amazing. So just to recap, that we can, these are the claims that we can make, right? That
Yes.
that we can freely speak about. And always, like, testimonials are very powerful. I mean,
Yes.
so we know that if you want to speak about your experience with Clary Sage, that's really great. So that's awesome. So for me also very interesting about this one, and the relaxing part. I think that's where the insomnia one comes in as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and I would have normally associated more lavender with this effects, but this is very interesting that clary sage have the same effects. And it has a very, I'm not saying it smells like lavender, but it's got that same sort of, comes from the same fragrance almost, like it's very in the same house as lavender for me.
Maybe that's why it's got a the purple bloom. I would have to delve into that research and see why lavender is purple. It's also got purple bloom, so maybe there's some relation onto what makes it what it is, and it's similar to lavender.
Awesome,
Definitely.
that's great because there's great testimonials about deep sleep. Some people using it a lot every day. They don't have menstrual pains, um, hot flashes, night sweats. Oh, this is awesome. Um,
Mm.
okay, so there's one from Sana says, I have been in premenopause for, that was a very big word to realize what
I
the
can
word
see the
was.
comments there.
For ages and was always hot and would kick myself blankets off. I love clary sage, but now it actually feels cold in winter, but I use blankets and do not feel hot anytime. That's awesome. So our next oil, for me, is also a very interesting oil which is one of our blends called Endoflex, right? So can you take us through Endoflex? Because this is, I mean, if I just look at the oils that's contained in Endoflex, there's a lot of interesting oils in here.
So Endoflex is our next one. Mm. So Endoflex. So Endoflex essential oil blend features spearmint, sage, geranium, myrtle, and German chamomile and nutmeg in a sesame seed oil base. So it helps create a calming and balancing aroma when diffused and applied topically. It may support a healthy lifestyle when taken internally, and this blend amplifies metabolism, vitality, and creates hormonal balance. So I'll talk about the creation of the hormonal balance. Endoflex mainly supports the endocrine system or the pineal glands and the thymus glands. Thymus glands, we mean glands that are in the thyroid. So it is used for thyroid and adrenal support, both of which positively influence female hormone support. Because the thyroid, as much as it does not produce any hormones, it triggers other parts of the body that do to actually producing some of these hormones. So basically, I can in a literal sense call it a bit of a control center for the body to try to keep it balanced. So through supporting the endocrine system, Endoflex balances hormones that can fall out of whack. So the endocrine system is quite huge, and the Endoflex, it being, if you use it every day, you will know that it will support your endocrine system every day. And how it's used, you can use it for relieving PMS and ease cramps. You can alleviate hot flashes. It also keeps dysmenorrhea effects like painful menstruations away. And how that can be used, you can add 1 or 2 drops into a capsule and take it as a daily supplement. Like for those, another thing, this we actually were even taught at school, that for those people who actually get like painful menstrual cramps or PMS, don't treat the symptom, start treating it in advance. So Endoflex, if you take it every day, 1 to 2 drops in a capsule, and you take it the whole month. Like I noticed Zoe also mentioned that about clary sage, that if she uses clary sage every day, she stops getting painful menstrual cramps. Endoflex as well, if you take it every day as a daily supplement, maybe in a capsule form, like 1 to 2 drops in a capsule, it actually helps when the time comes, you don't get painful menstrual cramps, or you don't even get any PMS. And then if for those that actually also get painful sore bags and PMS cramps as well, You can apply it directly to the wrist, ankles, stomach, and the feet. The feet specifically because it has got bigger absorption receptors for anything. That's why even when you, as babies, for those who've got babies, if you apply a vapor rub on the base of the babies, that's how babies absorb it. So the base of the feet as well, we underestimated, but at the bottom of the feet, there's great receptors for absorption for oils. So apply it at the base of the feet and you'll get relief. One study has shown as well that creating a roller of Endoflex, applying it on the thyroid actually increases or has better chances of it being absorbed by the thyroid gland whenever one is feeling out of whack, you're feeling moody, you've got PMS, you've got cramps, you have all the hot flashes from menopause. Applying it on the surface where the thyroid is helps with better absorption, hence it works faster on the thyroid. So yeah.
I mean, there's amazing. So I really have to say, I do like the sentence that it balances your system when it falls out of whack, right?
Yes.
But as a male, I would be very, very worried to use that sentence, and specifically to one of my colleagues saying, "I think your hormones are out of whack." But
Out of whack?
but I can refer them to Endoflex at least, right? So
Yes.
I just quickly want, there's somebody that spoke, okay, no, we'll come back to Hetty. I think assume it's Hetty that's on Johan's computer that spoke about Clarisage, other uses, which was interesting for use during labor, milk production and breastfeeding. I know for cramps and sore breasts, so that's awesome. So there was a question about using Endoflex when the thyroid gland is removed and you are on medication for hormone function. So do you want to, can you address that, or
Yes,
should they speak to their...
I can. So you know how with the thyroid, let's say the thyroid is you've got high thyroxine or you've got low thyroxine, the doctors prescribe medication for it. But then now, if it's to actually help the thyroid gland to work better, there at least we've got the thyroid to work with. But if you don't have a thyroid anymore, it's been removed, and whatever functions that the thyroid was doing is being now for a lack of a better word, we're using artificial methods. You're taking in tablets, we're taking in supplements, then unfortunately, there is no thyroid to work on for the Clarisage. But it can work on other parts, the other endocrine. The thyroid is not the only one that it works on. If the endocrine system can also be used, the pineal gland can also be used, other thymus glands can also be used, which are not necessarily the thyroid. So it can be beneficial as experimentally, but also with the help of your health practitioner, because they are the ones that actually know how much of the artificial hormones or stimulus is being used to stimulate what the thyroid was actually doing.
Cool. I think that's a very,
I don't know if
very good answer. Yeah. Let's see. Can men use Endoflex? If not, what can they use for their, if their hormones are out of whack?
So the great thing is that not all hormonal oils work at the same place. So, like I said, you can still use Endoflex targeting the endocrine system. Okay. You can still use Clarisage targeting the parts that Clarisage works on, which is the cortisol, parts of the brain that produce cortisol. You can still use it topically, because when we use Endoflex topically, it's not going to be supporting the thyroid. It's actually going to work on the muscles, because it also works on the musculoskeletal system of the body. So for those people who get cramps, it's not necessarily because the thyroid is sending some responses. No, it's actually working on the muscles themselves, helping them to relax. So you can still use it, but not necessarily targeting the thyroid effect, but the other body system effects. So yes, definitely we can still use it.
That's awesome. Our next oil is Dragon Time. Okay, so I must say, when I smelled Dragon Time the first time, I'm not crazy about the smell, but it's not obviously intended for me.
Like
So do you want to take us through what this blend and this special blend, and I don't know where the name comes from. Do you want to take us through the blend?
Okay, so I lost you there a bit, Lee, but I'm sure you said something very important.
No, it
So
wasn't that
that being
important. You can
said,
go on.
Dragon Time essential oil was Dragon Time essential oil was formulated specifically for women. That's what mind blows me about this, that it calms the dragon. You know how there's a cartoon that says how to tame your dragon. So Dragon Time was actually created to help us tame our dragons, because for anyone who's ever gone through PMS, you are just a dragon. You don't want to be irritated. You're irritable. You just want to eat up everyone who's in your space. You want to be left alone. So exactly, Dragon Time was actually created for that, so that we can just tame a bit of the dragons. It is a feminine aid blend with a calming, relaxing, and a grounding aroma. And it is geared towards women for its aromatically soothing property. So how it works. It is a synergistic blend made of clary sage, which we just spoke of, fennel, and lavender, which have been used traditionally for dysmenorrhea. And it's unfortunate that fennel, I'm not going to talk about fennel in this particular call, but it works in symbiosis with clary sage in counteracting dysmenorrhea, because it's got almost the same effect as clary sage. And lavender also helps in the relaxing. So whenever we feel like we need to relax, lavender works for that, because it is calming. It helps support your hormones so that they balance, especially during times of hormonal stress. Remember what I said as well about how stress triggers hormonal imbalance. So it works as well to reduce the stress, which will trigger a hormonal imbalance by preventing the production of cortisol, which is the one that is a stressor in our system that gives us those feelings of stress. So because of having clary sage, which has an anti-stressor effect, it helps in hormonal stress situations. So it is used for PMS symptoms and menstrual discomfort, including cramping and irregular period. It helps balance emotions because of the lavender that it contains and the fennel. It alleviates mood swings, which are usually triggered by cortisol that is produced in the system whenever we go through stress. It alleviates headaches caused by hormonal imbalance and may mellow out postpartum baby blues. And it does that as well through the effects of removing cortisol. You know, after you've had a baby, there's a lot of hormonal imbalance that happens. There's a lot of hormones that are working at the same time, helping with the healing, helping with the emotions, helping with producing milk to lactate. And so all of that can actually cause the baby blues. And it helps with those in that the lavender in it causes a relaxing feeling. The clary sage works as an anti-stressor, reducing the depression, and the fennel as well helps clary sage in doing that. So hence it helps with the baby blues as well. How do we use our Dragon Time? So Dragon Time, you apply a few drops at the lower back or on the abdomen. You can add 5 drops of Dragon Time onto a wet towel, a hot wet towel. Take a towel, you dip it in warm water, you apply 5 drops on it, and you apply that towel onto your abdomen or lower back, almost like a hot water bottle effect.
But wait, I might want to upgrade soon. So let me just, you can wait for my phone.
You just want to look.
And how are you after having? Oh, yes. So after you have a baby, I just saw a question right now, Lee, as saying, after you have a baby, how will you use it? You can diffuse it, definitely, because aromatherapy, clary sage can also have effect if you diffuse it. You can apply it at the base of the feet, but you need to dilute it a bit because it's quite a potent oil. So when you're going to apply it topically, do a patch test. You apply it on the abdomen, you apply it on the back, you can apply it on the feet, and you can diffuse it as well, just to give you that calming and relaxing effect.
That's awesome, and I think it makes sense that it contains clary sage and lavender, because I mean we've spoken about, we know the benefits of lavender already, and clary sage we just mentioned, and then fennel, which was a very interesting conversation that I had with one of our brand partners in Bloemfontein when I was there last week, about the amazing properties of fennel. So I know that it's not available in South Africa, but it's definitely something that we will look into, because I mean that was one on our wish list of our brand partners. So we will definitely look into that.
Yes, because fennel has got some great properties as well that will just blow all of our minds. So it is really, really awesome.
So our
And
last one.
progestins, the star of the show. When I first got to Young Living, everyone would talk about frost, stay away. If you don't want to have a baby, stay away from Progestins Plus, because you will definitely have a baby if you unaware use progestins. So Progestins Plus is the first ever pure progesterone serum on the market. It has a pleasant aroma and is easy to take with you. It's easily absorbed into the skin and does not require cycling the application site like other progesterone supplements. So Progesterone Plus contains sacred frankincense, bergamot, and peppermint essential oils, plus vitamin E for increased skin effects or benefits. So when it comes to working on the female hormones, progestins or PPP is a balancing blend designed to enhance the natural effects of progesterone. Pure USP grade supermicronized progesterone from wild yam is purified into a pure therapeutic infused serum. So basically, in layman's language, is wild yam contains a high proportion of progesterone. So that one is taken and it is supermicronized to create the serum that we now use as PPP. It works by balancing the effects of estrogen dominance, hence improving progesterone levels. So like I talked about when I was doing my introduction on estrogen, that as much as estrogen is a great hormone, like it makes us who we are walking estrogen. Dominance of it in the female body does not have good effects in the body system. For example, some people are trying to have another baby and you've got estrogen dominance. It prevents the progesterone to create the thick lining for a baby to attach after fertilization. So it counteracts the effects of progesterone in helping with fertility. So how PPP helps, it works by balancing the effects of estrogen dominance, hence improving progesterone levels. As women age, progesterone levels drop as well, and staying hormonally balanced becomes increasingly challenging. So it causes everything from sleep and mood disorders to be more serious health concerns. And this one is very real. You know, you are tackling progesterone levels go low. You can't sleep anymore because of the imbalances that are happening in the body, mood disorders because estrogen is just dominant in the system. And that is like, for a lack of a better word, creates a dragon again. So progesterone deficiency is something that affects all women. So PPP also increases the hormonal effects of progesterone, and it gives you the additional progesterone that you need, that your body cannot produce. Because for some people, it's not even out of lack of trying of their bodies to produce progesterone. Their system just cannot produce high levels of progesterone. So this now is given externally, and it is amazing because it is made from wild yam. So it can be used by almost anyone. It can be used for PMS. It can be used for cramps. It can be used for headaches, especially menstrual migraines or hormonal headaches, because it balances the hormones and then it increases the progesterone levels, reducing the estrogen. Because another study that I read says very high levels of estrogen can actually cause those menstrual migraines. So sometimes, I'll give you an example. Those people who use birth control, if you pay close attention, like the birth control pills, triphasal. During the period, your menstrual cycle, when you're taking the placebos, you actually feel a bit of headaches because the progesterone levels are quite low. So now, if we use PPP, headaches associated with the menstrual cycle are actually reduced. Endometriosis, hot flashes or day and night sweats that are caused by menopause, it counteracts all that. The fibroids, adult acne that are actually breakouts during hormonal cycles, it counteracts that because it keeps the body well maintained, and hence you don't get that breakout. Irregular periods can be caused by, again, estrogen dominance. So, or even stress. Stress can cause irregular periods because you trigger the body to be imbalanced, and then the progesterone levels go down and you get a period. So because for some people who actually get irregular periods, it is because of low progesterone levels. That is exactly even what happens during a menstrual cycle. When you know how in the menstrual cycle, there's 4 parts to the menstrual cycle. So after ovulation, and then there's no fertilization of the egg, progesterone levels are quite high after ovulation, so as to try to make sure that if there's fertilization, the lining of the uterus is thick and then the baby attaches. If there is none, then the progesterone levels go down, and then that's when you get your period or your menstrual bleed. So think about that happening on a normal Tuesday when you are so far off from getting your period. Progesterone levels go low, you get an irregular period. So progestin actually helps in counteracting that, those sudden drops of progesterone, because maybe there's a stressor, you're under stress and your levels are out of whack. So it helps with that. So how do we apply progestin, or how do we use it? So we apply 2 to 4 drops to the stomach, feet, or inner thighs each day. So this, you can use it because progestin is quite potent. Advice is don't apply it on the same particular spot 2 days in a row, because you are more likely to get an allergic reaction from it. So you choose a spot that you can use it. Do not exceed 2 applications per day, because like I said, it is quite potent. So as much as progesterone is quite good for the body, too much of progesterone also is not good for the body system. And progestins being very potent, you do not exceed 2 applications per day. Do not apply on the same spot 2 days consecutively. You apply 2 to 4 drops to the stomach, the feet, or the inner thighs each day. And this is one of the oils that you can actually use every day.
Awesome. So there's quite a lot of comments and questions around PPP. So I think the first one is, Cassie wanted to know about how do you know if you have high levels of estrogen? I think that was the question. Do we know the answer? Yeah? How would
Yes. So a blood test. A blood test is the only way that you can know your levels of estrogen, because there's actually a table that shows an adult of this age should be having certain amounts of millimoles of estrogen in their body. So a doctor does a blood test and they'll tell you if you've got low estrogen, if you've got high estrogen, low progesterone, high progesterone.
Okay, that's awesome. So, and you spoke about the different levels at the different ages. So can somebody, because Miranda said she's 73, can she benefit from PPP?
Definitely, because it's after menopause. Now you are just balancing, as even if you have passed menopause, you still need progesterone, you still need estrogen in your body system. We are working like, and this is something that my doctor once said, we are working estrogen. Estrogen makes us who we are. Progesterone makes us who we are. So definitely you can benefit from using PPP no matter at what age.
So the follow-up question on that is, so what age can you start using it? Or can a 16-year-old use it? Or is there a certain age limit when people can start, when people can still use it?
Okay, so for kids that are like 16 years, it's a bit, because they're still developing. We don't want to be adding artificial or external hormones to them when their bodies are still trying to figure themselves out. So that's during puberty. So let's give the body a chance for it to actually figure itself out, for lack of better words. And then maybe we can start it at 18, 21, going up. Now we use it at the discretion of the parent, but 16 is too young because that's the puberty stage. That's where estrogen is doing everything that it needs to do during the puberty stage.
Okay, that's awesome. So we've got a reference to Dr. Dan Polser, which helped us working on developing PPP. And Josette was very helpful to send us the link to the Facebook page where we can get information.
Awesome.
So thank you for that. Then can PPP be taken internally?
No, it's topical. It's
topical
only.
Okay. Vocab hormones using daily. The best friend. So there's amazing testimonials here. Okay, my best friend has breast cancer and is on post-cancer meds. She is not allowed to take any hormonal related products. Would clary sage and PPP be an option for her or not?
Not necessarily, because someone who's on cancer, okay, some of the triggers of cancer can be estrogen. So we have to go back to what the explanation was for the trigger for that cancer to come through. I know, for example, some breast cancers are triggered by estrogen. A person doesn't really know that they're gonna get, they don't know that they even have genetic cancer. They start using birth control, which is estrogen based, and then it triggers their body to have cancer. So it is not advisable you do it at the consultation with an oncologist, because some cancers are actually triggered by some of these hormones that we have in our systems.
Yeah, I had a very interesting conversation with somebody around DNA and when things come out. And I think this is the opportunity with oils, is where those DNA weaknesses are. So rather prevention better than cure is if we balance our systems and we look after ourselves, then those weaknesses in our DNA, the likelihood of them coming forward is much less if we live a healthy, balanced lifestyle. And we use our oils and the right oils for us regularly. So Beat asked about just the questions about the 16-year-old again. So the answer is no. Fran recommended that you have to wait at least till 21, 22. And I think that is sort of the questions. I don't know if there's any questions while I go through the rest of the presentation. That will be, you're more than welcome, and we can see if there's questions that we need to wrap up. So Fran, I'll thank you in the end, but thank you for this very insightful training. I think I've learned a lot. I think our brand partners learned a lot. Okay, so that's just more testimonials. So quickly, let's see how our brand partners can get hands-on Clary Sage, Endoflex, as well as Dragon Time this month. So this is part of our PV promotion. So if you get 100% on 100% PV order on ER, you will get Clary Sage. If you do 150 on quick order, you'll get it. Then Endoflex is available on 200 PV. And 350 PV on quick order, and then Dragon Time is available at 300 PV. Now, the essential reward gifts on total value is 2,730. So that is an amazing gift for our brand partners this month, and I think this really speaks about Women's Month, this PV promo. So then the last one is Progestins is available. A 35% discount. The normal member price is $542 and it's available for $433. So if you haven't tried it, you can surely give it a go. That, as well as our Desert Mist Diffuser, as well as Rose Essential Oil, which we spoke about last month. So I just want a quick rundown of some updates. We have our Mastermind Diamond brand partner call next week, and then we've got our Ningxia August launch call training. We'll be taking you through the presentation on the 25th, The theme is actually not Let's Celebrate, it's Cheers to You. We've already had Let's Celebrate. And then on the 1st of September, please note there's a change. Our launch call is on the 1st of September, and our launch call will be the 1st. If it's on a Monday, if the first is over a weekend, it will be on the first Monday going forward. Now, as you know, our theme for next month is Cheers to You, and it's all around Ningxia. We are sort of launching something very exciting. And for those people on the call, you are the first people to get the sneak peek of it. So similar to our 10 oil flyer, there's an oil for it. We have done a brand new flyer for Ningxia, and the title is got Ningxia, and it's got all the new the Ningxia claims. It's got the products, it's got how it's manufactured, it's got some Ningxia recipes, like some Ningxia shots, some smoothies. But most important is that there's some claims, because globally, or in America, they did clinical studies, and we will have a nice training call on this, where they did clinical trials on Ningxia Red, and we can make spectacular claims. I'm not going to even mention it, because I don't want to take away from the hormones, but the flyer will be available, and we'll communicate to you shortly for order. It's going to be the same as the 10 oil flyer at R1.28. We're printing in bulk so that you can get it at an affordable price. We will communicate to you as soon as it's available. So that is something very exciting. The guys on this call, you are the first to see it. So get that ready. So set up some events. It's going to be an amazing month for us, because it's springtime, and we can make some amazing claims around Ningxia. Then I just want to remind everybody about our Glow Getter incentive. As you know, it's running for the whole month. Every enrollment counts as points. At the end of the month, we look at what is the total PV spent, and then we allocate your points, as you can see there. And then we allocate you with tier points. So if you achieve 200 points in the month, you get 75 ER points to spend. Tier 2, you can get 400 ER points, 150 ER points, sorry. That's 400 points accumulated, and tier 3 is 600 points, and that is valued at a whopping 4,200 Rand. And I'm sure that if you qualify for this tiers, you can get some of those products that you have always wanted, because we've got so many products that's in there that's not even available in South Africa. We've got oils in there, we've got swag in there that you can't buy. But most important this month, it is something that everybody wants. And I know that everybody would like this. So if you qualify for tier 2 or higher this month only, you can buy a beautiful Via diffuser in the incentive store for only 25 ER points. Obviously, terms and conditions apply. Now, the only thing that I have left to say is get glowing, because the world needs your magic. So thank you, Fran, for sharing your glow with us tonight. We really appreciate it, and thank you everybody for your contribution, your amazing testimonials. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you next Thursday on our Diamond Call. Bye.
Bye.